tonight Cole Umbehr with his second talk in the Next Great Adventure. Cole, come on up.
Every person in here has a death sentence. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but one day. One day we will all die. And to face this bold reality, we can accept that the only thing that matters between now and then is what we do in that time. A lot of us will play it safe, take the easy road. They won't tell their boss what they really think. They won't speak their mind. Some of us will even waste it. But the few of us who take the path less traveled, they go embrace fear, they take risks, those are the people who really live and whose legacy will live on. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on this stage. That's why I'm injecting myself into one of the most competitive, dangerous, unapologetic industries. But why? There are more jobs in aviation than I can count that are more lucrative, safer, predictable. So why the Air Force? Why a fighter pilot, right? Well, there's lots of reasons, but I can start with this. In 1903, the New York Times published an article stating, "It will take the combined efforts of mathematicians and mechanics 1 to 10 million years to achieve manned, heavier-than-air flight." 10 million years, what? But nonetheless, 69 days after the article's publication, on December 17th, 1903, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, brothers Wilbur and Orville Wright achieved the first manned heavy-than-air flight. Experts, journalists, mechanics, mathematicians, they all doubted them. I mean, humans were just never meant to fly. We can run, walk, crawl, swim, dive, but we can't fly. It was just something humans never imagined they'd even be able to do. Everyone doubted that two bicycle mechanics out of North Carolina, would be the first to invent flight. Nonetheless, they persevered. That's what makes aviation so special to me. The why behind my journey, not just the mechanical masterpiece, which planes are, but the story and the journey behind the man who created it. That's what I want to be remembered for. I want to carry on their legacy. I want to show the world that man were born to inherit the sky and the clouds, like the raven and the crow. Now, I could stand up here, not yet, and tell you stuff that you probably don't care about. I'm 15, I live in Wichita, Kansas, I bench 320, but that isn't a definition of who I am as a person. So instead, I'd like to tell you about my gifts, my abnormalities, what I want to be remembered for. To start, when I die, I want to be remembered for my unwavering commitment to helping others and uplifting everyone's experience with me. I want to serve others, even if that means putting myself on the line. I've recently, in the last year, through working in the service industry, found this enjoyment for the art of hospitality, doing more than expected, and creating meaningful experiences for others. And one of the biggest reasons I've thrived in the service industry is because of the constant pressure, the high demand, the need for perfection. It's when the whole restaurant gets set in 5 minutes, you have 5 tables to bus, 2 people in your ear, and you have to move. But lucky for me, I do not struggle under stress. I come alive. The urgency, the intensity, the need for perfection, it pushes me into a state of flow where everything clicks into place. Movements become a second nature, and I operate at peak efficiency. It's an exhilarating feeling, almost like a high, and I chase it every chance I get. Because stress doesn't break me, it fuels me. Where others might falter, I rise. It's the fuel that keeps this train chugging. I don't just handle pressure, but I excel in it. And this ability, it's not just a skill, but it's a part of who I am, woven into my nature. It's this resilience, this drive, that defines me. It's what will propel me forward in every second counts, when failure just isn't an option, that's where I'll belong. That's where I'll thrive. I spent most of my time as a kid, and now, with my eyes to the sky, watching planes, finding constellations, sleeping in planes, um, listening to the hum of tankers, carriers, rumbling over my head. To me, aviation was just always this magical thing. How a 100,000-pound aircraft can lift off the ground, soar across the world at speeds unbeknownst to man so effortlessly. It was just pure magic. Quickly, I became obsessed with this concept. It was just so clear how much I admired this concept, and I admired these pilots who flew these planes. Nothing can compare to the feeling of barreling down the runway, and when you hit that magic number where the plane slowly lifts off the ground, abilities get smaller, and your mind just suddenly goes clear. Secondly, I love adrenaline. The thrill of the chase, the near misses, the close to death moments, it's what I yearn for. When you take these two passions, these gifts, these abilities, these desires, you end up with the career of a fighter pilot, faster than any human on Earth, against the most destructive and advanced weapons in a flying hunk of deadly metal. That's what I'm meant to do. That's what I'm here for. As I've grown older, I grew quite fond of flying these death-defying stunts, adrenaline rushes, situations with no room for error. It has led me to my dream of soaring in the world's deadliest, world's most feared aircraft, for the world's most powerful military, as a fighter pilot for the United States Air Force. So when my death sentence is due, I remember for how noble I was, how I spent my time serving others, and despite putting myself in line to do that, I will achieve this dream by attending and graduating from the world's most prestigious aviation military school that is a direct pipeline to becoming a fighter pilot, United States Air Force Academy. I dream, to be specific, of being part of an elite aggressor squadron of fighter jets used for air-to-air combat in close quarters high-risk missions. My dream jet to fly is the newly announced F-47, the first sixth-generation fighter jet that features a battalion of drones to fly alongside Mach 2 suspected speed and full stealth capabilities, and weapon systems that could blow any current existing plane out of the water or out of the sky. While information on this jet is still limited, upon its announcement, I knew that this jet is the one I'll be sitting in, the one I'll live in, the one I can die in, the one I'll fly in. But let's be real. Becoming a fighter pilot is nothing like becoming a grunt for the Army for free college, or choosing which crown to eat as a Marine. It is a constant funnel from the beginning of high school, nearly a decade of constantly being the best at what you do, being selected from other pools of pilots and other people who are just as good as you to compete for that glorious spot as a fighter pilot. To do this, I'll need to get into one of the most prestigious schools in the nation, United States Air Force Academy. After graduating from which, with an exceptionally difficult degree, I'll be starting service in the Air Force, from which point I'll have 2 to 3 years ahead of me of constant training and being selected from pools of other pilots to I reach my desired aircraft, the F-47. Only about 2% of applicants are even accepted into military training programs. Of those, only 25% make it through the rigorous training to become military pilots. And then even fewer, only about 15%, earn a slot to fly in a fighter jet for the United States Air Force. That's because it takes the baddest of the bad, smartest of the smart, best of the best. Nearly a decade of being on top of everything you do. Truthfully, it's going to be too much to do without any help. So what I need from anyone in the audience today, whether I know you or not, is connections. Simply introduce yourself to me after this speech. Find me, and if you have connections with pilots, military members, politicians, any of those like, please connect me with them, as that is what will propel me the farthest in the military. Additionally, as this speech is part of a nationwide competition of high schoolers competing for their prize, my ask from the active network hosting this competition is funding for flight hours so I can hone my superpower, as well as connections for fighter pilots that I can interview. The funding for both my private pilot's license and my instrument rating will total up progress towards this destiny, I promise that within the next year, I will expand my network to at least 3 more fighter pilots, complete an industry study, and make serious progress towards earning my private pilot's license. Alrighty. At 1,500 miles an hour, every decision is life or death. When you're traveling 2,200 feet every second, you don't have room for error. That's what becoming a fighter pilot is. You're strapped into this machine, this system, this career, this industry, built for speed, power, risk, unpredictability, unforgivableness. You don't get to second crash. You commit. You don't get to second guess. You commit, or you crash. And right now, I'm committing. I'm committing to a journey of risk, unpredictability, danger, hardship. Now, clearing myself for the takeoff for my next great